Since Jack Smith won in 1961, 3 times the average speed here has been under 70 miles an hour. They've been slowed by caution flags, but they fly around here. These 160,000 people didn't come here to see great strategy. They came here to see if this was going to be the fender flailingest, wall bangingest, temper flaringest race since yesterday.
Yeah, I can say that that is true, Mike Joy. This place is awesome, and it has left more than one driver awestruck. Take Casey Kane, who was spotted standing on pit road yesterday. He was staring at the fans at the track. It was as if he was being swallowed up. He was described as being in a trance. He was awoken by his crew chief, Tommy Baldwin Jr., who said, Casey, are you okay? And the rookie turned around and had just a couple of words. Bristol, man. Matt?
Jeannie, Dale Earnhardt Jr. will tell you Bristol's a very special place. 25 years ago, then 4-year-old Junior saw his dad score his first Nextel Cup win right here in Thunder Valley. 6 times his Busch team finished second here at Bristol, never winning. He has 2 top 5s here. He told me he won yesterday. That was special as an owner, but he wants to get that big check off his racing resume of winning here at Bristol. He said a win here would be bigger than Indy. He said it would be humongous, colossal, and universal. In Junior speak, I guess that means it would be very big. To Dick Bergeron.
In the spring of 2001, Elliott Sadler won here at Bristol. He called it the biggest win of his entire career, and indeed it was. It was also an improbable win because he demolished his primary car in practice, had to start dead last, 43rd in that race, passed everybody to win. He's got a better shot at it today because he starts in 9th, but it's been 107 starts for Elliott since he has won a race. He says this is Bristol, the improbable could happen, and he may well again drive into victory lane. To Steve Burns.
When this racetrack opened in 1961, 25,000 fans sat on a combination of concrete bleachers, or they just sat up on the hills on the other side. Today, 160,000 fans circle a racetrack that at its highest point is over 20 stories tall.
And we're just about a lap and a half to green.
I mean, we've got a unique pit road situation here. We have 2 pit roads, but they use it like one. You enter here in turn 2. You have to go all the way around on the apron here, and you exit in turn 1. And that makes it like one pit road, 30 miles per hour. A unique situation is of our 4 of our top 5 qualifiers picked all over the place. Ryan Newman, who sat on the pole, he picked right here. Greg Biffle, who qualified 3rd, he picked over here in turn 4. Casey Kane, who qualified 5th, he picked here in turn 2. And then Jeff Gordon, who sat on the outside pole, he picked right here in turn 3. So we've got our 4 of our top 5 qualifiers all over the place to try to have that open.
Darrell Waltrip joins us. Darrell, what gets you so excited about this place, other than the big billboard out back, a grandstand in your name, and being the track's all-time winner?
Well, there's 160,000 people here, Mike. I'm worried about 42. That's all I got to worry about. I don't even know these other 160,000 are here, but this is a great, I mean, it's so much ambiance here.
Oh, you'll know. Can you hear the crowd from the car?
Yeah, I'd say that Kurt Busch, Jeff Gordon, the late Dale Earnhardt, me, we've all heard them at one time or another.
500 laps. We're ready to go. We hope you're ready to go.
DW, 500 laps, like Mike said. Please, half-mile racetrack, reach up there 2 or 3 times here. Pull those belts tight one more time.
Yeah, I want to get all my fans out there, get everybody on their feet. I want y'all to help me send these boys off. Let's all give them a big old sound here. What do you say? 1, 2, 3. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
Jeff Gordon in the 24 car, he's exactly what he wanted to do there. He wanted to fall back in behind Ryan Newman in the 12 car. They want to run right around the bottom, especially with those focus tires.
Boy, Jeff got a little squirrely there in the middle of 1 or in 3 and 4. Still a little twitchy, Jeff is.
Good clean start. The one car is up on the outside, Tony Stewart. And he's not looking for the bottom. He's looking to get past Elliott Sadler.
Right now, he's losing ground, Mike. He has Kevin Harvick in the 29 car behind him. I think these guys right now would like to get to the bottom. Tony Stewart, the 20, finally finds a place on the bottom of the racetrack.
What you normally try to do is work a deal with the guy that's starting on the inside to let you in. But Kevin Harvick didn't work a deal, I can tell you that.
And after yesterday, Kevin Harvick has few friends. He has at least one fewer, David Stremme.
The greatest sound in the world when you're in that position that Kevin Harvick is when the spotter says clear low.
And the worst sound in the world is when that guy running last says the leader is coming. And that happens in about 9 or 10 laps.
Yeah, I mean, we've run 4 laps right now, and Ryan Newman is over a half a lap ahead of the cars at the back. Joe Rutten in the 09 car looks like he's headed to pit road, as well as Andy Hillenberg in the 80 car.
Ruttman is off the track, and Hillenberg in the triplet for Congress Ford is heading for his pit.
This racetrack, you saw in our weather graphic, 80 degrees. It's just a full concrete racetrack. The entire surface is concrete. And 36 degrees of banking in the corner. That's more banking than Talladega. 16 degrees on the straightaway. That's more banking than a lot of racetracks have in the corner.
But you know the worst part about all it is? The straightaway is 650 feet long. That's how long you got to rest. That's about a second and a half.
You can take a breath at least.
That's about it.
Kirk Shelmerdine pulls down to the track apron and around to the front stretch pits as he's lapped by Ryan Newman. And Jeff Green, that AOL number 30, is the car that cannot get to the bottom. Kurt Busch goes past on the inside. Oh, and Green had the bottom and slipped up the racetrack.
Whoa, trouble over there. Oh, hang on to it, Ricky. Ricky Rudd in the 21 car and the 30 car there. Sauter just about caused the big one.
I'm sorry, Johnny Sauter, not Jeff Green. That was last year. See how Bristol gets you all confused up?
You're already dizzy.
I know. Greg Biffle slipped up. Jamie McMurray's after him. This is for 5th place. Biffle got high on the racetrack. Murray's going to make the pass.
Yeah, about a lap ago, he got real high off turn 2, and he had to get completely out of the throttle. He lost 2 positions to Rusty Wallace and Casey Kane, and now he'd like to fall back in line, and he will in front of Jamie McMurray in the 42 car.
Yeah, Biffle had an awesome Busch car yesterday. Led most of the race and then got messed up on pit strategy, but his car looks pretty good today as well.
Right now, Ryan Newman, our leader, has up to about a 3/4 of a second lead as we got a challenge for second place. Rusty Wallace in the 2. Jeff Gordon saw he caught him. It's like, you know, if you caught me that quick, go on by me. I'm not going to fight you. But there what'll happen, you build that lead up right there, you catch the back of the field, and you lose that lead. It's so hard to pass him.
Jeff Gordon's car is dog meat. I'm telling you, he's bobbing and weaving. He's not getting through the turns well at all. He's losing positions. He's got problems.
He was not very happy with his car yesterday in final practice either.
Well, the saga continues.
Casey Kane has gone to 3rd. That relegates Gordon to 4th. Steve?
Well, Mike, to follow up on what DW just said about Jeff Gordon, Robbie Loomis and Crucci said that the car was really good in turns 3 and 4, but they've been fighting a tight race car in turns 1 and 2 all weekend, but Jeff has not said anything since the race started.
Let's go to the 8th place battle. Elliott Sadler's been trying to battle along there with Brendan Gaughan, and they're following Michael Waltrip.
But Mike, you can't talk on the radio here. You don't have time. You can't key them mic. You just can't say anything. You can't give your crew any much direction right now because you're so busy.
Last week's winner versus last year's winner here, and last fall's winner here, Kurt Busch tracking Jimmy Johnson.
It's a battle for 11.
Kurt's trying to be patient. Give him credit for that. He's had a couple opportunities to dive in under Jimmy, but he hadn't taken them yet.
Jeffrey Bodine started the Lucas Oil, number 98, and now he is down to the track apron and headed behind the wall. Bodine's start here will get him a place in the Nextel All-Star race in Charlotte in May.
We almost have that. We're about 2 laps away from having the conveyor belt of race cars all the way around this half-mile racetrack.
Johnny Sauter took Dale Jr. to the inside, coming down the front straightaway, and then Sauter made room. Jr. opened up the door. Sterling Marlin went by. Kevin Harvick says, "Hi, how are you?" to the left rear quarter panel of Sauter's car, and now Harvick's trying to work his way through.
And that's teammates right there.
I was going to say, and the last guy that was driving that 30 car lost his job for complaining about that.
Jamie McMurray passed Jeff Gordon. Gordon continuing to back up a bit. Kevin Harvick still trying to look for a way by Johnny Sauter.
There's a conveyor belt. Solid cars all the way around this racetrack.
And it'll be that way until we have enough cautions to eliminate about 8 or 10 of these cars. Then you'll see some good solid racing.
Jeff Gordon from 2nd back to 6th now, Steve.
And Mike, he has spoken. He said the race car is wicked loose. Robbie Loomis said, hang with it, it's going to get better. Jeff just said it's not getting better, it's getting worse.
I'll attest to that. He's got his hands full.
On the leaders, here's Matt.
Small change before the race for Polster and Ryan Newman. His car still a little tight in the center of the corner. Meanwhile, his teammate, Rusty Wallace, trying to break that long windless streak, closing in on the 12 car. His car, awesome, running about a tenth of a second a lap better. And also, their third teammate, Brendan Gaughan in the 77, top 10. His car a little on the loose side, but good.
Rusty put so much effort into that race. They built a brand new race car. They came up here and tested for 2 days. He'd love to break that losing streak right here at a place he has 9 wins.
And they made some more changes to that over the walkthrough.
They continue to do that till they find what they're looking for.
Yeah, Rusty's car is definitely better than Ryan's right now. 12 is not as good as the 2 right now.
They're
But
fixing
so
to
far,
get lap traffic.
Ryan Newman has led every lap until this one as Wallace comes underneath turn 3, new leader, Rusty Wallace.
Greg Biffle, your current leader. Let's do a quick recap for those of you that were not with us at the start of the race. Ryan Newman, the pole sitter, led the first 25 laps on the 25th lap. That's Rusty Wallace in the 2-car, Dodge passing Dodge. Penske teammates. Lap 58, first caution. The rookie Casey Kane in the 9-car. Bumped by Jamie McMurray. Later said he was stupid. What was he doing here? And said he'd get him back. And then lap 82, Tony Stewart taking the lead from Rusty Wallace. A little bump and run. And on lap 102, Labonte, Harvick, Burton involved.
177 complete. We're set for the restart. Greg Biffle leading Rusty Wallace, Brendan Gaughan, Ryan Newman, his teammates, Kurt Busch and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Kyle Petty on the inside has been as quick as the leaders the last 100 laps. Not able to get back on the lead lap on this restart.
Tony Stewart, the real loser, as you saw in the graphic, though. Kurt Busch and that group picked up 4 positions on pit road. That could be 20 laps out on the racetrack.
Darrell, the more lap cars there are on that inside lane on restarts, and then they were told, the lap cars, to try to move up high and out of the way. Hard to do both.
Yeah, no, there's no way. And what happens is, as you go down the first turn, they've got the preferred line. They move you up out of the groove, and the guys in front of you drive off and leave you.
Ricky Rudd released from the care center. He is okay. Jeff Hammond is with what's left of Casey Kane's car that brought out the first caution.
Guys, this is not my Ford cutaway car. This is what's left of Casey Kane's car. He's one of the early victims here at Bristol. As you can see, they couldn't effect repairs, so Casey Kane's day is shorted, just like the back end of this race car.
A great rookie season until today for Casey Kane.
And as we talked about earlier when that wreck happened, he came in here 5th in the points, so he'll take a hit today on that.
5th place, Dale Earnhardt Jr. passes Kurt Busch, goes right after Ryan Newman, turn 3.
Inside. Clear.
You ever notice how Kurt Busch is just inching closer and closer to the front? Quietly today, too. So far.
Well, what did he tell you, Darrell? He doesn't plan to come here and win. His game plan's a little different.
Well, a lot like what I used to do. I used to just ride around, try to stay out of trouble for about 300 laps. And then, I had a better car than everybody else. I hadn't had it all beaten up, The fenders were still all where they're supposed to be.
Right after that sequence of pit stops a while ago, I was talking about Tony Stewart, and already because he's back in traffic, he's almost a half a lap down to Greg Biffle. Matt Yoakum, what's happening on their pit stops?
Larry Mack, on the first stop, there was a bad mount going from the old tire to the new tire on the right front. On the last stop, there were issues on the right rear and left front. Paul Aleppo, one of the pit crew coaches at JGR, looked at the video. Now the biggest thing, Tony's got to try to make up those spots at the racetrack, but Paul has to get the guys back mentally in the right frame of mind. They've got to put this bad 2 stops out of their mind and get ready for the next stops. You can't let these 2 stops keep them down. And VW, concerning the ice, just a little preventive maintenance for Tony Stewart. He's fine.
And Darrell, you got to to stay in the right frame of mind as a driver. You're saying, guys, I'm working my tail off getting to the front, and you're putting me to the back each time.
Yeah, and Tony, you know, being high-strung the way he is, he's not going to put up with a whole lot of that without taking that frustration out somewhere.
And oh, by the way, guess who's going to lead the most laps today? This man right here.
Has that look about it.
Got a very consistent race car. He gets beaten out of the pit there by the 16 car Biffle, but once they get going, Rusty just takes off.
This is the third time today that Rusty Wallace has led. He's been out front for a total of 81 laps, 58 for Biffle, 25 each for pole sitter Ryan Newman and Tony Stewart.
Rusty's one of the few race cars that I watch consistently lap after lap that never gets sideways up off the corner. He really accelerates nice and straight. That means he's not abusing his tires or his car.
But Darrell, what they'll have to do, Larry Carter, that crew chief, and Rusty, is they'll probably have to continue to make slight adjustments, especially late in the race as more rubber gets built up. They just got to be careful and not get too aggressive and jump the fence with their adjustments.
And that's where a good veteran driver like Rusty, if he'll just give you a little bit of feedback, not a lot, just a little bit, I think they can stay on top of it.
Kurt Busch, trying to four-peat here at Bristol, is in 6th place.
Listen, once you figure this place out, Mike, you set up wise, what kind of attitude you got to have to run good here all day long for 500 laps, you can come here and dominate like he has done.
And Dick Berggren, Busch is closing fast on Ryan Newman.
He is, Mike, but they have struggled with that race car all day long, and they're just really not quite sure what's wrong with it. At one point, he came on the radio and said, it feels like something wrong. The car just isn't right. Most recently, he said he thinks the air pressure is too low on all 4 tires when they put 4 new tires on. He said it feels like the car is scraping the bottom of the racetrack. Meanwhile, Greg Biffle said this set of tires isn't as good as the ones he's had earlier. Steve.
Well, Dick, Jimmy Johnson's been consistent for nearly 200 laps, riding in the 7th position. He won last weekend's race at Darlington. He said this weekend, one of his proudest moments of that race was a comment that Darrell Waltrip made, calling him a gentleman driver. Although Jimmy's just 28 years old, he has a deep respect for the sport and the veteran drivers. In fact, he said one time at Lowe's Motor Speedway, he passed Dale Jarrett, and Mark Martin came on the radio and said, I can't believe I just passed those guys that I've grown up watching. He races by the golden rule.
It's fun to see this sport unfold through a young driver's eyes. It's Tony Stewart underneath the lap car of Nemechek.
And you can always find bad examples, and it's good to find a good example every now and then. And I think Jimmy exemplifies what a champion would be, what it should be like.
Scott Wimmer in the Bill Davis 22, the Cat car, trying to take the spot from Ricky Craven. This race is for 14th. These are lead lap cars back through 25th position.
And, you know, back on the 97 for a second, Kurt Busch, that's not good feedback when you tell the crew chief there's something wrong.
Oh, yikes. That's not good.
Oh, they're spinning behind him and getting the chain reaction. Caution is out as Robbie Gordon at 31 spins around.
Lonnie Stewart's got a whole bunch of damage to the right front.
That was one of those, I don't want to say caterpillar, well, it's caterpillar kind of crashes, you know, the 22.
There he goes. We might find out who the culprit was here. Tony not happy. I knew it was just a matter of time before Tony loses his cool. These pit stops are getting to him, and
he's losing it right now. And
yeah.
This is where your spotter comes in and say, look, you got a good race car, 200 laps, calm down.
You had a good race car. You may have just wounded it pretty good.
That was one of those thigh bone connected to the knee bone connected to the not funny bone crashes. Let's show you.
Yeah, with a 32 car, you know, it looks like he had to get out of the throttle, and I can't really see enough yet. Wimmer actually just got in the back of the 32, which shot him into Tony, looked like.
And then Robbie Gordon checks up and Ken Schrader turns him. But here's how it started.
See, the 32 gets loose. You got to get out of the gas. Here comes Tony. I don't know why he'd be mad at the 22 car. I think he's just mad. I don't think he's mad at anybody. I think he's just mad.
Well, Tony Stewart and Scott Wimmer, we're told, are going to be black flagged.
Now, that's been a long, long time since we've had anybody in the penalty box.
Of course, both these are lead lap cars.
And they wasn't hurt very badly until all this started.
Now here's what happens to Robbie Gordon. He checks up. Ken Schrader's right behind him.
Yep, got a bump. Get the back wheels lifted up off the ground, and around she goes.
And his teammate Kevin Harvick in the 29 car just squeaks by.
Jeannie.
The 40 car of Sterling Marlin just taking 2 right side tires. He's been biting real loose. He hopes this will help. Steve?
Jeannie, small adjustment for Jimmy Johnson. As Larry Mack said, you can't jump the fence. A little wedge adjustment, 4 tires, and he's off pit road. Dick?
Greg Biffle into his pit right now, going to take 4 tires. Same air pressure in all of them, even though he didn't like the air pressures the last time around. He pits well back in the box so he can clear the number 38 of Elliott Sadler, who parks in front of him. To Matt.
Brendan Gault's Jackman just creased the right front fender. Rusty Wallace in. Looks like another solid stop by these guys. Remember, they changed tire changers again. Shuffle them on the 2. He's down and away. He's going to beat him off pit road again.
Good stop for Sterling Marlin. Good stop for Rusty Wallace.
Rusty's got to be loving this. They got a good race car. They're making great stops right now. Looking good for Rusty.
But look down on pit road on the front stretch. The NASCAR official, look at the official in front of Tony Stewart's car. He has his right hand on his head, signaling that there is an infraction by the driver. He has one finger in the air with his left hand, indicating a 1-lap penalty. And the same is going on in the 22 pit for Scott Wimmer. So anger management is in operation here at Bristol.
We talked about attitude, but not bad attitude.
Some egos and the fenders bruised early. Let's go over some of the wrecks here in Bristol. Lap 58, rookie Casey Kane knocked out of the race by Jamie McMurray. Kane said later, I'll get him back sometime. And then Bobby Labonte, the Wellbutrin car, he is depressed, involved in a wreck with Harvick and Burton. Ricky Rudd, Casey Mears wrecked. They're out of the race. And then Tony Stewart and Scott Wimmer behind Ricky Craven get into it. And Tony Stewart is assessed black flag, the 1-lap penalty, and then later pointing out to Wimmer the advantages of using Old Spice. But there is your leader, followed by Rusty Wallace. Now Sterling Marlin, and look at Rusty Wallace, who won his first career race here, taking the lead with Dale Earnhardt Jr. right behind him.
You're going to say he opened the door right there, and Dale Earnhardt, he took advantage of it right there. But Rusty's been frustrated for a long time based off the fact that Sterling Marlin only took on 2 tires the last time the caution came out. So he was riding around with some pretty well-worn left side tires, and he finally got decided it's time to go.
Rusty Wallace, first win came here 18 years ago when Rusty won his last race in 2001. Ryan Newman, his teammate, wasn't racing full-time in Nextel Cup, and Brendan Gaughan, another teammate, wasn't even racing trucks full-time. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to stay with Rusty Wallace, who has been the leader for a number of times.
One other guy right there, Chris, has been doing extremely well here today, is a veteran. Kenny Schrader back there in that number 49 car right now, racing side by side with Michael Walton for position, as well as right in behind Ryan Newman for 12th place. Kenny Schrader's having a pretty strong run today in that Swan car.
We've had now 7 leaders, 9 lead changes, up to 6 cars out of the race, and this long green run stretch.
Every now and then this race will take on a long green run. This could be the start of one right now, Chris. This could be very interesting as we go along. See these 2 guys get together right there going down the corner. And Kenny Schrader hangs his left front tire down off the apron and gets sideways. Here we go. Everybody's beating and banging each other. That's what happens here at Bristol.
Michael Waltrip in front of Jeremy Mayfield, and all this happening in front of Matt Kenseth, who's running 16th in the 17 car. He's the points leader.
And look who's out front right now. Dale Earnhardt got around Rusty Wallace. I guess he got tired of following Rusty also.
So Dale Earnhardt, and the Dale Earnhardt Jr. fans upstanding wearing red. Let's take a look at how it happened.
Sitting there watching Kenny Schrader right there. 12 car gets up, gets a little loose. Michael gets into the Schrader. All this is going on right here, going out in turn 1 and 2.
And then,
again, man, I tell you right now, Jeremy Mayfield, 32 car.
Ricky Craven, who
all this right in front of Matt Kenseth. But meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets down underneath Rusty Wallace right there in the middle of 1 and 2. Puts the move on him.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr., your leader, followed by Rusty Wallace, Sterling Marlin, Greg Biffle, and Kurt Busch running fifth. Let's go back upstairs, rejoin Mike Joy, Darrell Waltrip, and Larry McReynolds.
Lots happened there in a few laps, but you know, Schrader and Michael have to sit next to each other on Speed Channel on Mondays on Inside Weston Cup. There is a difference when you're racing one of your buddies, Darrell. Michael gave Kenny a lot of room to get his car back under control and almost paid the price. Jeremy Mayfield almost ran over Michael there.
Yeah, they like to have something to talk about and something to laugh about, so they got something to talk about tomorrow.
Here's Matt.
Michael, wedge adjustment on that last stopper. Dale Jr. car very good. Restarted 7th, moved his way up through very quickly through the field. He says the car is really coming to him almost perfect.
You know, we've been under these long greens longer than I can remember in quite some time here, and this is one of the most physically demanding racetracks that we go to. Now, one of the things that's really helped these guys here, you see how the seats are made now? The driver used to be held in the seat by a little rib protector that went right under there. But now he's using his whole upper body, his shoulders, which are about 6 times stronger than your rib cage. So, and he's got the Hans device. All he's got to do is really sit there and steer that car. We just told ourselves in the car by the steering wheel right here. All these things would wear you out on this racetrack for 500 laps. And so fatigue can set in with some of these cats. This is the first long, hot race we've had in quite a while.
You know, our pole sitter, Ryan Newman, in the 12 car, he is almost in the way right now. You know, you heard Chris Myers and Jeff talk about our long green run here. This is the longest we've had, and his car just seems to get worse and worse as we go. In fact, he's back in the 19th position. He's only about 4 seconds from being lapped by our leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 8th car.
Mark Martin, Johnny Sauter, a little impatience there, running right behind Ryan Newman.
That's been brewing. They've been bumping around on each other just a little bit for the last several laps.
Now, they're only about half a straightaway from being a lap down, though there are several lap cars separating them from the leader.
And that's what puts the pressure on these guys. They got to run over each other. They got to go on or they're going to get lapped. And so you got people hollering at your crew chief spotter. Got to go, man. Got to go.
I mean, Terry Labonte in the 5 car right now, he's in the 18th position. He's on the lead lap. He got the first free pass of the day, but he's not that far from being lapped. The car right behind him, Tony Stewart in the 20, he's on the verge of going a 2nd lap down.
Laps complete at Bristol, 200 to go, and what's about to happen you wouldn't have dreamt possible at the start of the day. Pole sitter Ryan Newman is about to get lapped by Dale Earnhardt Jr., Rusty Wallace, and Sterling Marlin.
And what would be good news about that to Rusty Wallace? I know he has mixed feelings about that, but if Ryan indeed goes a lap down, remember only lead lap cars can pit the first time, that would give Rusty that free shot out of his pit box and not have to deal with his teammate being there.
Yeah, because he's already had awesome pit stops. And Larry, this thing looks to me like we could have a green flag pit stop here before too terribly long.
Yeah, I mean, we're 100 laps into this run.
Excuse me, turn 2, Casey Mears just came back on track with what's left of his race car and almost put it up into the fence. Dale Jr. goes by him.
See, I just think that that's one of those deals where if you only rewarded points back to 25th spot, from there on back you get no points, that guy wouldn't have to bring that race car back out on the racetrack. He's 168 laps down. And look at his car. I mean, I just don't think that's a good idea.
And Darrell, I've sent cars out like that's not quite capable of getting up to speed. I've torn them up worse after I've done that than they got tore up in the beginning. You can't get out of the way.
I feel sorry for the driver. He has got to stay here and he's got to go back out for his team. But man, put him in so much jeopardy doing that.
All right, our pole sitter has just been lapped. Ryan Newman, let's go to his pit.
The problem that Ryan Newman's been fighting all day has really gone to the severe side, tightness. Just trying to hang on to that lead lap, could not hang on any longer. Meanwhile, his rookie teammate Brendan gone into 77, fighting the same thing Ryan is. The car is tight and getting tighter and tighter with every lap. Rookie crew chief Shane Wilson already talking about what adjustments to make to that 77 car, but trying to keep him pumped up, telling him you're only half a track behind the leader. Just hang in there.
Thanks, Matt. Let me correct. Newman is right in front of Junior still. He has not gone a lap down.
And we abuse the right front so much here. I mean, we're pouring it down there and it's digging into that 36-degree banking. It builds up air pressure. Then you're in traffic and you're using your brakes. That builds up air pressure. First thing you know, that thing won't turn a lick.
and then we've got over 100 laps on this tank of fuel, so it's gained all that nose weight. But Darrell, I think also right here, lap 300, this is where the track transitions a little bit. A lot of rubber down. It's cooling down just a little bit. I think this is where the guys that keep up with those adjustments, they can prevail.
This is where the engineers pay off. The guys that are engineers on the team, whether they're crew chief or team member, they have to look at what they call trends. What is the trends that have taken place here over the last several years? What adjustments need to be made?
If you look up here in our crawl right here, you see that most of these guys are about 40 to 45 laps away from making a green flag stop. You know, every week we talk about, well, short pitting. Bristol is one of those places you don't want to pit till you're out of gas, because if you make a green flag stop here, you're going to go at least 2 laps down.
Now, can Sterling Marlin run that long, since he only took it on 2 tires last time?
Yeah, he'd be okay.
Yeah, he only had 20 laps on those left side tires, so he's going to do the same as everybody. He's going to run just as far as he can. And even when you see the leaders start coming to pit road, you're going to still try to wait it out, because you know when you get 140 laps here at Bristol, that caution is lurking.
Greg Biffle has been able to close right up on Sterling Marlin with all of this traffic. It's the beer can battle. Bud, Miller, Coors, 1, 2, 3, Junior, Rusty, Sterling, line them up, boys.
Yep, but I tell you, there's a couple of cars that are just right back here, not too far out of our picture. 97 and the 48. They're right back here behind these 2 cars. They'll be coming in the frame here in a minute. Watch it. Here there goes the leaders. There they go right there. They're just closing in ever so slightly.
Kurt Busch and Jimmy Johnson.
What are you made of?
LG presents the LG Super Racing Weekend Trophy. Improve your driving skills throughout the season on 10 official circuits and in 3 different racing categories, and win prizes from a selection of the finest LG electronics products. 3 games, triple your chances to be the fastest on track. So connect to Eurosport.com/GameZone and have fun. So who will be motorcycling's master of endurance? 3 races will determine it, and here comes the first of them, the Le Mans 24-hour race, the supreme test for man and machine. For 3 years, Suzuki have called the tune. Can anyone sing something different? Motorcycling's Le Mans 24-hour race, all weekend, with the start Saturday afternoon live and the finish live on Sunday afternoon.
Going to be 87 laps to go when they come around. Kurt Busch going for 3 in a row to tie Fred Lorenzen for 3rd on the all-time consecutive win list at Bristol. Darrell won 7 in a row. Cale Yarborough 4 in a row. Fred Lorenzen 3 in a row. Green flag.
Now, of course, Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. He's the car right behind Kurt Busch that wants to stay up there. He wants to get that caution where, like Ryan Newman, he can get the pardon to get back on the lead lap, especially after the mistake that he made earlier on that green flag stop.
Newman is the 17th and final car on the lead lap. Michael Waltrip in 4th place. Lap car of Terry Labonte just ahead.
Michael's done a great job today. He's just stayed out of trouble, quietly worked his way up into the top 5.
And for a team that only has one top 30 finish, 37th in points, I think a good top 5, Steve, would just tickle that group to death.
I think a top 10, Steve.
Yeah, and they're having a good run, guys. Remember, Michael pitted on lap 364, so his tires are a little bit older. Michael's saying the car is just a little bit tight, but they are having a good day.
Just ahead of Michael, Rusty Wallace, who still so far has led the most laps of any driver. Some audio between Rusty and his crew chief. This was during the caution.
Rusty, I tell you, from here on out, we might be ahead of the game just to do 2. You know, there's 90 laps to go. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, sure, what Larry Carter is basing that off of is what he saw Sterling Marlin prevail with 2 tires earlier. But Rusty just knows this racetrack is getting slick right there. There's not that many cars on lead lap. And actually, Rusty just went by Dale Earnhardt Jr. Dale continues to lose positions.
You know, I think he's got it almost looks like he got a soft right front tire. I'm not sure, but something's up with that race car, and I believe it's a tire.
Marlin went by for 2nd and Wallace for 3rd.
And he's fixing to lose 2 or 3 more spots. Michael Waltrip in the 15, Jimmy Johnson with those real fresh tires in the 48, and Dale Jarrett in 88.
Inside, 1 car.
He agrees with you, Darrell.
Yeah, it's a tire. I'm not sure if it's a right front or not, but it's a tire. And you can see he's really got crank. He's really got a handful there. He's got a tire problem, I think.
And of course, I mean, this is where you feel that real pressure as a driver and a crew chief. You know a green flag stop with 80 laps to go is going to take you out of the equation, but you don't want to stay out there, lose that tire, and hit that wall. So we have 2 people wanting that caution, Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah, he's definitely fighting with a problem there. It's more than likely, since he's able to run this long, it could be a left side tire. But he's doing the same thing I'd be doing. I got a tire going down, but I don't know which one it is.
Junior last pitted 50 laps ago. Trying to hold on to a lead lap finish here as Kurt Busch extends his margin over Sterling Marlin and has the lap car of Jeff Gordon between himself and 2nd place.
Yeah, I thought Junebug had about the only car I thought that might be able to challenge the 97, and now he's got problems.
Dick Berggren.
When the caution flag flew a few laps ago, Kurt Busch got on the radio and politely asked Jimmy Fennick, do we pit now? And Fennick politely got back on the radio and said, we're going to take this baby all the way to the end. Since then, they have reminded Busch about tire strategy, tire management, conserve the tires.
And remind him, don't race people that can't beat you. And Jeff Gordon's a lap down. If he gets up there and starts hounding you, let him go.
Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car pulls up behind Michael Waltrip in the 15. This is a battle for 4th. And just remember, Jimmy Johnson has about 20 less laps on his tires. Steve Burns, that could prevail with just a little over 70 laps to go.
It might, Larry Mack, and he said he's got some good strategy. He says, I'm saving my right front tire for the end of the race, but I do have very good forward bite.
And of course, the thing he don't want to have to do is have to fight cars like Michael Waltrip so long that he abuses that right front tire.
And boy, they've really picked up the pace, Larry. I mean, they were running high 17s or mid 17s earlier, and we're right now last lap 16:30.
Yeah, Kurt Busch ran the fastest lap in this race of his car back 10 laps ago at lap 4:15 at a 15:82 around a half-mile racetrack.
Dale Jr. now 2/3 of a lap down, continuing to fade, Matt.
70 laps in the finish. He continues
there he
to
goes, there he goes.
He spins around.
And Casey Mears gets caught up
is out
with Stanley Barrett.
I believe he's going to stay on the lead lap. He will, because remember, the field is frozen. The field is frozen.
And the leader is instructed, when you see the caution, slow down to pace lap speed.
He brought the caution that he needed, and it worked out just perfect. And Jeff Gordon will get the pardon. He'll be back on the lead lap here with about 60 to 70 laps to go.
Well, you make your own luck, and he just made a whole pot full of it.
Dale Jr. spins to bring out the 8th caution of the day. I remember a race, it was a short track race, I forget where his father Heard Richard Childress on the radio saying, Dale, we're about to go a lap down. We need to caution. Dale says, working on it.
Yeah.
And they got one.
Oh, yeah.
See him go off into turn 1 and 2. Thing just comes around with him.
Yeah.
Luckily, he don't hit anything. No one hits him. In fact, almost a big mess back there with Casey Mears in the 41 and Stanton Barrett.
But, you know, he was falling back. I think he was looking for the end of the line so he could get to pit road. And fortunately, there were not that many cars, good cars behind him.
Joey Chit would be proud.
Whoa. Whoa.
Ninth caution flag. It's going to be 28 laps to run as they line up double file for the restart. Kurt Busch is your leader, trying to three-peat. Rusty Wallace is second. Sterling Marlin is third. Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, Jamie McMurray, Kenny Schrader, Ryan Newman, Jeff Gordon, Scott Wimmer, the top 10. There are 20 lead lap cars as we get set to go back to green for hopefully the final 28 laps.
And Rusty Wallace in that 2 car, he wants to stay hooked right to Kurt Busch in that 97. He'd like to clear Mark Martin before they come off turn 2.
And you got to remember now, Mark is trying to be the first car a lap down. He's trying to get a lap back. So, you know, it doesn't matter who's leading the race right now. He's just doing his job.
And the good thing about it right now, Kurt Busch in the 97, our leader, he has clean racetrack in front of him. He can hit his marks and run his groove. But I'm telling you, you can just see Rusty Wallace gripping that steering wheel in 2 right now.
A hungry dog.
He's gnawing on that thing right now. And he's going to be gnawing on that back bumper if he can get to it. He will not take no for an answer. And I believe Sterling Marlin's got a problem.
Kevin Harvick around the outside of Marlin.
It looked like he had a problem. I don't know if he had to check up down there off before what happened, but they got a run on him. I know that.
Rusty Wallace is about 2 car lengths and 26 laps away from his first win in over 100 races.
And he feels like, you know, Jeff Gordon cost him one here a couple of years ago. And I don't think he wants to let one get away today if he's got a shot. I think something's wrong with Sterling, Larry.
Yeah, look at this battle for third. I think what's wrong, Darrell, is 100-lap tires versus Kevin Harvick's fresh tires. And remember, Matt Kenseth in that 17 right behind him, along with Jamie McMurray, they have fresh tires too. That's what's wrong with Sterling, but he's not ready to give up.
I think Martin just had a problem too. He just saw a bunch of smoke fly out of his car. I think they're, 48, I think there's oil on the track.
48 and 38 got together. Now everybody straightens out.
We'll see here. I thought there might be some oil from Mark's car.
Boy, Kurt really washed up down in turn 1 and 2, but he got a good run off turn 2. They'll be coming back to the line. 22 laps to go.
Mark Martin is slowed up, but is still running. We stay under green.
Every time he goes through 3 and 4, though, Mike, I do see some smoke trail out of that race car.
Yeah, something happened to it. I'm not sure exactly what. But in the meantime, back at the ranch.
Rusty got off turn 2 and got to within a foot of Kurt Busch's rear bumper.
And Darrell, Kurt Busch, he has to hug that yellow line. He can't open that door an inch for Rusty Wallace in that 2 car.
Just don't overdrive. Float it in. Get back to the throttle quick. He'll never get around you.
That time, Busch beat Wallace back to the throttle off 2.
Easy in, hard off.
That's exactly right. Kurt Busch cannot overdrive the entrance to the corner.
Whoa.
And he cannot look at his mirror.
Man, he did something there. Rusty really had a look on the inside going down into 1. That was almost a disaster.
20 to go.
Rusty's last win, California, 2001, 103 races ago.
He's got the best chance he's had in a long time to lose his to win that race.
And Darrell, he's had a good race car ever since they unloaded.
77.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
Somebody got Brendan Gaughan.
I think it may have been Dale Jr.
I think you may be right. Now, Gaughan also had a tire rub, and he falls from 11th place to the tail end of the lead lap with 19 to go.
Well, he's got serious damage. He hit that inside retaining wall hard.
Who will it be? Kurt Busch, Rusty Wallace, and right behind them, Kevin Harvick, Sterling Marlin. Point leader, Matt Kenseth, Jamie McMurray, Kenny Schrader, Ryan Newman. Here we go.
Rusty spun the tires on the start of the race.
He just spun the tires right there, and I don't know how much it's going to hurt him, but I think with Kevin Harvick on better tires, He better get going.
Attaboy to Tony Stewart, who gave the lead lap cars plenty of room to race.
12 laps to go this time. Kurt Busch, as you say, just don't need to overdrive that corner right now, as he has about a 3-car length lead through 1 and 2.
Well, Rusty's car, I believe, is a little bit better than Kurt's. It's just the question, can he get to him?
Rusty did get off turn 2 very good that time. His car's not hooking up off the corner.
I think this is when a driver, it's when you really start trying too hard, Larry. You need to take a deep breath and let it come to you.
And right now, Rusty Wallace, he has that rearview mirror full of Kevin Harvick in the 29 car. And
yeah,
Kevin's really driving that car down in the corner.
Both these guys are going to have their hands full with that 29 car.
10 laps to go this time.
And our red flag lap is 495. 5 more laps. We would not have a red flag should we get a caution past 495.
And let's say Matt Kenseth's up to 5th place.
And coming.
Got a pretty good looking old hot rod too. And the 42 is right there behind him, hounding him pretty good.
For a driver who brought out the first caution of the day and fell back to 28. That's
whoa,
cover, and he almost takes out Kenseth.
Man, he really is pounding on him.
And he's going to have the position. He'll take it away.
Matt. Not now, buddy. You're a champion.
Not with 8 laps to go. And NASCAR has been calming them down through spotters and crew.
Trouble. 88
Jarrett in the wall. And will we see the yellow? Not yet.
No caution.
Not yet.
There it is.
Caution is out with 7 to go.
There it is. See, this is what happened yesterday. Had a caution late. Grouped everybody up, and then we had that wild finish.
Got any brakes? Check your brakes.
Now, when we come back around, we'll be 6 to go. And we're hearing, remember the red flag lap, I just talked about it, 495.
Let's see what happened here, Larry. Wait a minute. Oh, he got together with the 22 car. Man.
All right, the pace car will pick up the field and stop them on the back straightaway. Again, we look out at 160,000 seats, and they are still all full.
No, they ain't. They're empty. Everybody's standing up right now.
We're standing in them.
But I don't like this right here, bringing the cars down pit road.
Listen to the crowd, though.
They like it.
Yeah, they do.
Strategy, schmategy.
I'd rather stop them out on the racetrack. That was my point. I mean, I'd rather not come down through the debris and all the stuff you got to go through on hot tires.
But you know what, Darrell? I think Dale Jarrett put so much debris down the backstretch, I think that they want a free racetrack to try to blow it off.
The red flag is issued, and a lot of smoke from the right side exhaust of Mark Martin's car as he comes down.
Yeah, he's got an engine problem of some nature there.
So he's still holding on to 23rd place. And there is Dale Jarrett's UPS Ford.
These guys had fought all day long to stay on the lead lap, had a good race car. And he's still on the lead lap right now, but it's going to be very marginal doing it for these final 5 laps.
Yeah, he's going to have to stop and put some tires on the thing. They're going to have trouble getting it jacked up, so he's still got some work to do.
Scott Wimmer and Dale Jarrett get together to bring out the 11th caution of the afternoon.
The 32 car shoved him up the hill. Wimmer got under him, and then they just get to banging on it.
Kurt Busch looking for career win number 9. Rusty Wallace looking for his 55th victory. It'll be green, white, checker. Here we go.
Rusty tried to anticipate that start.
He did a really good job. You better block him. Better block him.
Kurt Busch gets a good run off turn 2, though, Darrell. He pulls him by 1 car length, lap and a half to go.
Rusty had the bumper right there in turn 1, but Busch is driving away.
And right now, Rusty Wallace, white flag. He'll have his hands full with Kevin Harvick in that 29 car on those fresher tires. Kurt Busch pulls away by another car length down the backstretch.
McMurray slides up the racetrack off Kenseth's bumper. Checkered flag, Kurt Busch.
Man,
I think Matt Kenseth in the 17 kind of drop-kicked Jamie McMurray in the 42 car.
And here comes McMurray, and there goes the 30 around. Here comes McMurray up here looking for the 17.
And after the flag, Sauter came down and ran in the back of somebody.
Here we go. And the line will start to form.
I told you, though,
office. Here he comes. He's still got him. He's mad. turkey you.
And he turned him around down on the apron. You're right.
And who did Johnny Sauter get down in turn 1 after
I think he was just trying to get slowed down. Somebody run into him.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
And gotta get a hug from the crew chief. The crew waiting behind you. Only 3 drivers before yourself had one back-to-back races here at Bristol. We can add you to the list, and on behalf of one of our guys in the broadcast booth who's done the same thing, congratulations.
Thank you. This one by far has got to be the sweetest because of what we had to overcome. I don't know why the motor wouldn't run. We had about 1,000 RPM less all day today, which provided for great forward bite, so we were able to come off the corner good. But we were junk on restarts, and I just couldn't get the car to handle the right way all day. So we've got to go back and understand why, and just a tribute to this team on how we were able to adjust after Atlanta. We came to Darlington with a new program on what we thought we could do with this new tire, and for surely it's just unreal.
I know what was unreal was how many laps were you planning to stay out there, buddy? You didn't come in and pit. Your crew chief thought maybe you should come in. Maybe a little bit of a disagreement there. Everyone's happy now, but what was the communication problem there?
We had 20 laps on our tires, and it was about 140 to go, and I looked up in the mirror, and a couple guys didn't pit behind me, so I just jumped in front of that cone as far as the commitment cone and stayed out. But lo and behold, those guys were a lap down, so it was a decision that I was wrong on, and I had to bail myself out on. It's just an awesome day for this group. 40th anniversary for Sharpie. They brought a special paint scheme. Again, we got this thing in the victory lane. Phenomenal day. So just all of our associate sponsors with Coca-Cola, Kraft, Visa, Gillette, Young Guns. It's awesome to be part of this group and just keep digging. One race at a time, but when we get to the final 10, there's going to be no holding back. You got to let it rip.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support.